for wealth, you're looking for money, then we'll give you all the gold and silver in Makkah. We will hand it to you. Oh Muhammad, if you're doing this, you're inviting people to this one God called Allah. If you're doing this for leadership, you want to become our king, no problem. We will crown you our king. I ask you, my young friends, what was the response of my Nabi to the Quraysh of Makkah? History records my Nabi said, "O Kafiro, never mind all the gold in Makkah, never mind all the silver in Makkah, never mind leadership, never mind all the women in the dunya. O Kafiro, لو وضعوا الشمس في يميني والقمر في يساري ألا أن أترك هذا الأمر ما تركته أبدا." If you were to take the sun, this huge creation, and place it in the right hand of Muhammad, and if you were to take the moon, this huge creation, and place it in the left hand of Muhammad, even then Muhammad will not forsake Allah, will not stop enjoying good and forbidding evil, will not stop conveying the message, La ilaha illallah. This is the lesson that they learned from their Nabi. They taught the kuffar when they tried bribing them, "O Kafiro, if we can come in this world naked, then we can leave this world naked." Look at Hamza, the lion of Allah, the uncle of Rasulullah, Battle of Uhud, he's been martyred. My young friends, his body has been mutilated. The kuffar take off his ears, they took off his nose, they cut his chest, they take out his heart, his lungs, his kidneys. They rejoice, they make a necklace, and they wear this necklace rejoicing that today we've taken revenge. Hamza is lying there, my young friends. His sister comes with his coffin. The Muslims take the coffin from his sister, and they're about to enshroud, they're about to put Hamza in his coffin, when all of a sudden they see a young Ansari lying not too far from Sayyidina Hamza radiallahu ta'ala anhu. This Ansari's name is Suhail. He has no coffin. Now my young friends, rather than using the two sheets for Sayyidina Hamza radiallahu ta'ala anhu, the kuffar can't tolerate this, that Suhail has no coffin, Hamza has two sheets. They take these two sheets and they decide to use one sheet for Hamza and one sheet for Sayyidina Suhail radiallahu ta'ala anhu. When they look at the sheets, one is longer than the other. Who should get the big sheet? Who should get the smaller sheet? They decide to draw lots. They draw lots, my young friends, and the smaller sheet comes out in the lot of Sayyidina Hamza, the beloved uncle of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That uncle of the Nabi of Allah, that when he died, my young friends, Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam was so affected that Allah sent Jibreel Amin to console him. "O Muhammad, you have nothing to worry. I have written on my arsh that Hamza is the lion of Allah." That uncle of Rasulullah is leaving the world. There is only one sheet that covers his body. When his head is covered, his feet are exposed. When his feet are covered, his head are exposed. I ask you, my young friends, these very young lions of Allah, if they were to come to know your situation, my situation, in terms of our deen, I ask you, what do you think would become of them? What do you think would become of them? They sacrificed their lives so people like yourself, our fathers, our brothers, our sisters, our grandparents could declare the kalima La ilaha illallah. What do you think would become of them if they came to know our situation today? If they came to know that our situation is such that youngsters today, they have a passion for everything. They have a passion for beautiful women. They have a passion for fast cars, Lamborghinis, Bugatti Veyrons. They have a passion for intoxicants, speed, ice, coke, heroin, marijuana, ganja, call it what you like. They have a speed for intoxicants. They have a passion for intoxicants. They have a passion for sinning, for disobeying Allah. They have a passion for everything. The only thing that they do not have a passion for is for Allah and His Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They don't have a passion for their deen. How do you think they would feel if they came to know that today we have time for everything? What don't we have time for? We have time for the luxuries of the dunya. We have time to wine and dine. We have time to go eat with the family. But look what we would do just to feed our stomachs. We will travel for 2 hours from here all the way to Manchester just to get a bite to eat at Nawab's. We will travel all the way from here to Mumtaz in Bradford. We will travel all the way from Birmingham, all the way to London, to a top-notch restaurant just to satisfy our stomachs. We have a passion for everything. We will attend functions. We will attend wedding parties. We will attend birthday parties. We will spend hours on our mobile phones, on WhatsApp, on Twitter, on Facebook. We've got hours to attend the gym and look after our bodies. We've got time for everything. The only thing that we struggle with is to bow down before our Khaliq and Malik and fulfill our purpose in life. The only thing that we struggle with is to give Allah 2 minutes at the time of Fajr, because all He asks is you and I that we bow down. 2 rakats, 2 minutes. We struggle to give Him that. Alanki, you know what? Most of us are already awake. The sun rises after 8. Fajr is 5:30. Most of us are already awake 6 o'clock. We leave our houses 7 to go to work. We're already awake. We've had our breakfast. We washed our faces. But we struggle to bow down. Zohar namaz, all he wants, 4 minutes to bow down. Put your forehead on the ground. We struggle. Asr namaz, all he wants is 4 rakats. We struggle. Maghrib namaz, all he wants is 3 rakats. We struggle. Isha namaz, all he wants is 4 rakats. 3 witr wajib. This is the least that he wants. And we struggle to do this, my young friends. What do you think would become of them? Never mind elevating the kalima, la ilaha illallah. Youngsters today are becoming an obstacle. They're turning their backs. They're revolting. Look at the passion of the young lions of Allah, my young friends. Never mind revolting. Every single one of them was prepared to lay down his life for Allah and His Rasul. They were just waiting for Allah and His Rasul to ask. They would just wait for the Nabi of Allah to just utter one word. One word. One word. My young friends, here, we can plead with you. We can plead with you. And we can beg and we can beg that, you know what? The ummah is dying. There are millions out there are dying. Look how blessed you are. Look how blessed you are. All they're asking you and me is for £1.40. I didn't listen to the elan. What? 140 a day. 140 a day. I don't think this would be an exaggeration if I said this. This happens in my house. My children do this. Your children do this. How many houses every single day we waste more in terms of food than this 148? How many of us? How many of us? How many times, the curry that you've cooked, your children don't like, they don't eat, you throw it away. You cook fruit, they couldn't finish it, you throw it away. They open a crisp packet, they couldn't finish it, you threw it away. The chapati you made extra, your children couldn't eat it, you threw it away. How many houses? How many houses? But we can't see that. No one can see the weaknesses in themselves, and the ummah is dying. And here you'll find the young companions of Allah, my young friends, never mind revolting. Every single one of them were prepared to lay down their lives for Allah and His Rasul. Battle of Uhud. Muslimano, Battle of Uhud. And the Prophet ﷺ is inspecting the Muslim army. Abdullah bin Umar, the son of who? The great Umar Farooq radiallahu ta'ala anhu. He's not baligh. He's not even reached the age of 15. He's heard the Nabi of Allah. He's seen the preparations going on. He comes to the Nabi of Allah and he begins to beg him, Ya Rasulullah. Ya Rasulullah, O Messenger of Allah, I beg you, allow me to go with you. Ya Rasul, I want to elevate the kalima. I guess he heard the hadiths. لَغَدْوَةٌ فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ أَوْ رَوْحَةٌ خَيْرٌ مِنَ الدُّنْيا. They would hear one verse, and they would lay down their lives. Why does Allah say, تَقْشَعِرُّ مِنْهُ جُلُودُ الَّذِينَ يَخْشَوْنَ رَبَّهُم. The skins of those that fear Allah, it shivers when they hear the Quran or recite the Quran. It sinks in their hearts, it sinks in their bones. The Quran would flow in their veins in place of their blood. They wouldn't read reminders like this. No, my young friends. No. One word from Allah and His Rasul, there and then they would lay down their lives. I know you and me, the Quran, the whole Quran could be recited 1,000,000 times and it will have no impact. Not even 15 years of age, and he's begging the Nabi of Allah, Ya Rasul, allow me to go. Allow me to elevate the kalima, La ilaha illallah. I want to go. I want to elevate the kalima. Give me the honor of participating in battle with the Nabi of Allah. Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam takes one look at him and says, Nay, Abdullah, you're too small. I can't allow you to go. I can't allow you to go. He begins to cry. How much do you think he cried that day? How much do you think he cried that day, my young friends? He says, ما أتت علي ليلة قط مثلها من السحر والحزن. He cried that much, he says, I've never cried and I have never been stricken with grief as much as I was the day the Nabi of Allah rejected me and refused me and did not allow me to elevate the kalima La ilaha illallah. You know, we're asking you for your wealth. You will get the return. And it's not millions that you're being asked for, you're being asked for pennies. Like I said, we waste more than that on a daily basis. Every single one of us, I'm included. I'm not immune to this. But okay, there's no one worse than me. We do this. And look at them, they're prepared to lay down their lives. This is not just an isolated example of Abdullah bin Umar. Zayd ibn Sabit comes to the Nabi of Allah, Ya Rasulullah, I'm begging you, allow me to go. Allow me to elevate the kalima La ilaha illallah. The Prophet ﷺ rejects Zayd ibn Thabit. Zayd ibn Arqam comes. He begs the Nabi of Allah, Ya Rasulullah, I beg you, allow me to go. Allow me to elevate the kalima. The Prophet ﷺ rejects him. Bara ibn Azib comes. The Prophet ﷺ rejects him. Usama ibn Zayd comes. The Prophet ﷺ rejects him. Rafi comes. The Prophet ﷺ rejects him. My young friends, look at their fathers. When the Nabi of Allah rejected Rafi, his father stood up and said, Ya Rasulullah, you're rejecting my son? You're rejecting my son. You're not allowing him to participate in battle. You're not allowing him to elevate the kalima La ilaha illallah. Ya Rasulullah, let me tell you about my son. Inna Rafi and Ramin. My son is an archer. He'll prove to be an asset to the Muslim army. I'm begging you, allow him to come. I'm begging you, allow him to come. Allahu Akbar. Look at the passion and look at the love for Allah and His Rasul. You know, when his father was saying this to the Nabi of Allah, that my son is an asset, my son is an archer, he'll prove to be beneficial for the believing army. My young friends, Nabi Karim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam takes a look at Rafi, and Rafi begins to stand on his toes. He's a young kid, he's small. He wants to show himself bigger than what he is. So he's standing on his toes just to show the Nabi of Allah, Ya Rasulullah, look at my size. And the Nabi of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allows him to participate. And his face begins to glow. He can't contain the smile. He's received the honor of going with the Nabi of Allah to elevate the kalima La ilaha illallah. My young friends, his friend Samura ibn Jandam, when he saw that his friend Rafi has received the honor, it's too much for him to tolerate and bear. He begins to cry. He's crying, Rafi has received the honor, he can go with the Nabi of Allah. Maine kya guna kiya? What have I done wrong? Why can't I go? And he's so affected by this that he goes to the Nabi of Allah and he's crying. He goes to his father and he's crying. He says, Abba Jan, my friend Rafi has received the honor of participating in battle. My friend Rafi has received the honor of participating in battle. Abba, the Nabi of Allah has refused me. I'm deprived of this honor. Oh Abba, I swear by Allah, I'm tougher than him. If I fight him, I can beat him, I can down him. If I wrestle him, I will throw him to the ground. My young friends, the Nabi of Allah is informed of what this kid, what this child, Samura, has said. And the Prophet ﷺ gives him the opportunity to prove his claim. And now there's a wrestling match. On one side you have Rafi, and the other side you have Samura ibn Jandab radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. And I guess they're standing there looking at one another. I can just imagine this scene. And I guess it's the heart of Samura talking to the heart of Rafi. And Samura's heart is saying to Rafi's heart, Oh Rafi, you've received this great honor. You're going to elevate the kalima La ilaha illallah. I'm begging you, don't become a means of my deprivation. Don't become a means of my deprivation. And I guess the heart of Rafi has understood this and heard this loud and clear. And the wrestling match begins. And my young friends, within a few seconds, Rafi has been thrown to the ground and Samura is on top of him. And there's a smile on his face. He can't contain his smile and his face is glowing because the Nabi of Allah has given him permission to elevate the kalima La ilaha illallah. Wahb ibn Qabus was a Bedouin from amongst the Sahaba radiyallahu ta'ala. He lived in his village in the desert. He's coming to Madinah al-Munawwara. He wants a glimpse of his Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He has with him his goats and his nephew, and his goats are tied to a rope. And he gets to Madinah al-Munawwara. And when he gets to Madinah al-Munawwara, my young friends, he realizes that the Nabi of Allah is not there, the Sahaba are not there, they've gone to Uhud. He leaves his goats there, no mashwara, with family members, bhai. When it comes to the deen of Allah, we've got to consult with our wives. Okay, bhai, I'm going to give £5 in the path of Allah. But when we spend hundreds and thousands on ourselves, there's no consultation. And this is just the shaitan stopping us from getting into Jannah. No consultation, no mashwara. He leaves his goats and he heads towards Uhud. And he gets to Uhud at such a time that Nabi of Allah is alone. And the enemy are advancing towards him. And my Nabi says, whoever takes care of these will be my companion in paradise. Whoever takes care of these will be my companion in paradise. My young friends, as soon as he heard the words of Rasulullah, he rushed. He rushed and stood in front of the Nabi of Allah and began to fight with these people. And drove them back till they retreated. Another group came and he took care of them single-handedly. A third group came, he took care of them single-handedly. My Nabi was not happy with him, my young friends. On the battlefield, my Nabi said, "Oh Wahab, you're a Jannati. Oh Wahab, you're a Jannati." As soon as he heard these words, "You're a Jannati," my young friends, if somebody receives glad tidings from the Nabi of Allah, what doubt is in this? He doesn't want to live in Jannah. He doesn't want to live in this dunya any longer. Why would anyone want to live in this dunya when you've got Jannah? He doesn't want to live in the dunya any longer, my young friends. He jumps in the enemy lines and he fights till he's no more, till he gets to this Jannah that the Nabi of Allah had promised him. And even though my Nabi was injured in that battle, covered in blood, his tooth was martyred. Tooth was martyred, covered in blood. My young friends, the Nabi of Allah buried him with his own hands. The great Umar Farooq says, I've never envied anyone as I envied Wahb ibn Qabus. He says, because I saw the Nabi of Allah standing next to his dead body. And the Nabi of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was saying, "Oh Wahab, you have pleased me. May Allah be pleased with you." Hanzala has just got married. Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the believers have left for Uhud. He's with his wife. With his wife, is in need of a bath, is in need of purification. How long will it take? 5 minutes, 10 minutes? Here's the rumor that the Nabi of Allah and the Muslims have been defeated. My young friends, he leaves his cozy bed, he leaves his new wife, he leaves his bath, and he rushes to Uhud with a sword and jumps in the enemy lines and fights till he's no more. And the angels descend from the heaven and they bathe him. The Nabi of Allah saw it with his own eyes, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Before his burial, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, I can see the angels bathing him. Abu Sa'id says, when the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam said this, I went to look at his blessed body and I saw hair trickling from his head. Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam encourages Sahaba, "Qubu ila jannatin arduha as-samawati wal ard." Stand there to a paradise, the breadth of which is the heavens and the earth. So he said, Ya Rasulullah, one verse of the Quran, listen, "Qumu ila jannatin arduha as-samawati wal ard." I said, they only need one verse, one word from the Nabi of Allah, and then they would lay down their lives. The Prophet ﷺ said, stand there to a paradise, the breadth of which is 7 heavens and the earth. He said, Ya Rasulullah, this Jannah of Allah is so big that the breadth is 7 heavens and the earth. Prophet ﷺ said, indeed. He said, bakh bakh. Now bakh in Arabic you say when you're happy, excited. So the Prophet ﷺ said, why did you say these words? Why did you say these words? He said, Ya Rasulullah, in hope that I will be from the inhabitants of this Jannah. The Prophet ﷺ said, rest assured, you are from the inhabitants of this Jannah. He took out a bag of dates and started eating 1 or 2 dates. Then all of a sudden he throws the bag down. He says, if I wait for these dates to finish, this life is too long. I don't want to live a life like this. He throws the dates, he jumps into the enemy lines and he fights. And he gets to this Jannah, the breadth of which is the 7 heavens and the earth. Battle of Yamama and Ammar ibn Yasir is standing on a rock. And on this note I will conclude. He's covered in blood. He's standing on a rock in the battle of Yamama and his ear is hanging by the skin only. And you know what he was saying to the Muslims? He was saying, Amin al-Jannati tafirrun. Amin al-Jannati tafirrun. Are you running away from Jannah? Where are you running away from Jannah? Halumma ilayya, come towards me. Jannah is towards me. Where are you running? From the battlefield. Come towards me. Jannah is towards me. My young friends, I'm going to finish with these words. Amin al-Jannati tafirrun. I'm addressing myself, not you. Amin al-Jannati tafirrun. Are we running from Jannah? This life that we're living, where will it take us? A life in which we have no regard for Allah and His Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Where we're struggling. Balke, How many of us only ever see the house of Allah once a year on the day of Eid? Isn't that a reality? Of course it's a reality. How do we know it's a reality? Just look at the Jamaats that take place on the day of Eid. Normal masjid. One saf, two safs, three safs, if you're lucky. And even then, most of them, white beards, suffering from arthritis, maybe had a row with the missus. Masjid's got underfloor heating, saves on the bill in winter season. This is just a joke. I'm sure they come with good intention. But that's the reality. Jummah, alhamdulillah, by the grace of Allah, it's full. But when? Last minute. As soon as the Imam delivers the khutbah, the masjid is full. But still, in most masjids, we only have one Jummah. But on Eid, in every masjid, there's Jama'at at 7 o'clock, there's Jama'at at 8 o'clock, there's Jama'at at 9 o'clock, there's Jama'at at 10 o'clock. Where did the Muslims come from? Where did the Muslims come from? Many of us, we only ever walk inside the house of Allah once a year. Day in, day out. You know, my heart's black because of the sin that we commit. Every time you commit a sin, there's a black dot. You commit another sin, there's another black dot. You commit another sin, there's another black dot. It gets to a stage where it becomes completely black. And then it gets to a stage where nothing will enter, no matter how many times you hear a reminder. You'll get zang on it, rain, rust. Just like you get rust on iron. Nothing enters. This is the type of life that we're living. We commit thousands of sins on a daily basis without even realizing. Without even realizing. Just because everyone's doing it, it doesn't make it halal. I mean, I'll just give you one example. How many WhatsApp videos have haram content that you and I share? But you can't see the haram, you see. I can't see the haram. Why? Why can't we see the haram? You know, the eyes on the heart have become blind. Because we commit so much sin, the most obvious, we can't see. We can't see, and then because everyone's doing it, al-baliyatu idha ammat khafad, we think it's halal, it's fine. That Shaykh were doing it. Because I do it, it doesn't make it halal. I'm a human being. But okay, I already acknowledge and confess I commit more sins than you. You don't know. You don't know me. I know myself. And my Allah knows me. It's only what I do which is according to the teachings of Allah and His Rasul is halal. Anything that I do against that doesn't make it halal. Even if I send that WhatsApp video out, how many videos will have haram content? And I'm sending them to every single guy in my group. I've got 1,000 people, 4 groups, 250 each. They've sent it to another 1,000. They've sent it like this, like this. It's gone into millions, millions, millions. I'm the one that started it. I'm getting the guna of every single guy that watches that video. The thought doesn't even cross our mind. The thought doesn't even cross our mind. So this is the life that we're living. So this is why I'm saying, Amin al Jannati tafirun. Guys, I'm not here to kid anyone. I'm not even here, like I said, I'm here to just remind myself. You're here today, you're gone tomorrow. Whilst you're in the dunya, you and I get away with murder. Because my Allah, Nabbi ibadi anni anal ghafurur rahim. In the dunya, Allah is the most merciful and the most kind. And inshallah, in the akhirah, I will also be most merciful and more kind. But whilst you're in the dunya, Allah doesn't take to account. He lets you be. This is a mercy of Allah and the speciality of Rasulullah and our connection with the Nabi of Allah, that Allah doesn't send a punishment by which He destroyed the entire ummah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So we get away with murder. But what will you get away with once you're 6 foot under? What? You know, we live in such times that if we use our intellect, we will realize we can't get away with anything in the dunya in this day and age. With this mobile phone, what is it that they can't hear? What is it that they don't know? With this modern technology, what is it that they don't know? You tell me. These are human beings. And you can't get away with anything in this day and age. There are cameras anywhere. You commit a crime, it'll take them a while to go through the footage. But give them a few days, give them a few weeks, and they'll be knocking on your door. They will get to you. But crimes that were committed 50 years ago now, DNA, they're catching those criminals that raped someone, committed zina. 50 years ago, they're catching them today. You can't get away in the dunya. Do you and I really think we're going to get away with it in terms of the akhirah? Never in a million years. What are we doing this for? For what? For this dunya? What have you received in this dunya? What have I received in this dunya? What? What have you got? Guys, we're struggling to give 150 a day. I'm struggling to give 150 a day. Put your hands up if you've got more than £1 million in your account. Because obviously he wants two guys. Who's got more than £1 million in his account? Anyone? Nowadays to have £1 million, it's not a big thing. When we were kids, £1 million was a big thing. Nowadays, £1 million is not a big thing. Who's got 500k in his account? Don't worry guys, I do not work for the taxman or the benefits. 500k? It's expected. I didn't expect hands to go up. 100k. Again, no hands. Let me tell you the reality of this dunya and the reality of the average guy, people like me and you. Majority of us, my young friends, have got nothing. Nothing. We live by hand by mouth. Majority of us. What do we earn? Forget the guys that are over the 50k bracket, the ones that are qualified. Within the Asian community, most of us are not even educated. Anake patani with the fourth generation. 15, 20k, 25k. Where does all that go? Your car's on finance, your bills, and your mortgage. Guys, the reality is you don't even own the house that you live in. I don't even own the house that I live in. Does that make me a rich man or does that make me a poor man? The people that they were talking about in Iraq, they're poor, without doubt. We're also professional poor. We just look good. We put on a good show. A person doesn't even have his own house. How can he be rich? A house is not a luxury, it's necessity. Most of us buy a house on mortgage, on sood base. We know it's haram. I haven't come to talk about that here today. But we buy a house on mortgage. You take a mortgage at the age of 30, 25, whenever. You spend 30 years paying off this mortgage. 30 years of your life. You don't even own the house. When do you realize you don't own the house? When you stop, when you miss it. 1 payment, 2 payment, 3 payments. Before you know it, you thought you owned a house. It's gone. And for those of us that can actually make these payments, now we're 65 years of age, the beards turn white. Most of us have gone before that. The angels have come and taken your soul. For the few of us that get past 65, your children are breathing down your throat. But let me tell you today, they're not even breathing. Bam, bam, and they take it off you. How many a parent? I lead prayers. I listen to parents and their problems. How many a parent is terrified and scared of his own son and his own daughter? That he will take the house and he will kick out his wife, their mother. So they come parishan, what shall we do? What shall we do? Because I've got no trust. Yeah. Never mind, just a few days ago, I was in a hospital with my father, and we met a parent there. His kids had kicked him out. He was living on his own. He fell. There was no one even to pick him up. And I swear by Allah, he was crying in the hospital because they discharged him. He didn't want to be discharged. And you know why he said, obviously this was his mindset. The doctors discharged him because they've taken care of him. In this day, you have a major surgery and they send you back the next day. So they discharged him. And you know what he said? He said, you know why they've discharged me? Because I have no support, I have no children. If I had children here and they put pressure, they won't discharge me. He didn't want to go home. Because he had nowhere to go. All his children disowned him. So parents are afraid of their own children. They don't know what to do. This is our reality. We don't even own the house that we live in. And look. For this dunya we have nothing, and look what we're leaving. Amin al-jannati tafirrun. Amin al-jannati tafirrun. You're sacrificing ma la aynun ra'at, wa la udhunun samit, wa la khatar ala kalbi bashar. You're sacrificing blessings which no eye has seen, which no ear has heard, the thought of which has never crossed the human mind. The thought of which has not crossed the human mind. You know, guys, you've only tasted dunyavi buzzes. You haven't tasted ukhrawi buzzes. I give you examples of Bilal and the likes, just halawatul iman. Look what would become of them. Can you imagine the ukhrawi buzzes, the buzzes in Jannah, which Allah's prepared for His pious servants? في أنهار من ماء غير آسن وأنهار من لبن لم يتغير طعمه وأنهار من خمر لذة للشاربين. You know, rivers of water which is not polluted, rivers of milk, yeah. You know, you used to hear as children Cleopatra, bathing in milk, and that's why she was so beautiful. I remember as a kid, when our parents, they used to ask for two things from Pakistan. Kala Cola and Tibet cream. Those of you on my age will know what I'm referring to. Tibet cream. It was a white cream. Obviously, we were from Asia, we never seen white people, so we were fascinated with white people. So a lot of the Asians that came in those days, they wanted to become white. So they believed Tibet cream will make you white. Yeah. So obviously you've heard of things like this and Cleopatra bathing in milk. There'll be rivers of milk, bathe in it. Rivers of milk, drink to your heart's content. You'll never become drunk. Huri-in so beautiful that when you just look at them, yeah, your eyes will pop and your jaws will drop and you'll spend years just admiring this creation. Whatever you desire, you don't even have to ask Allah for it. وَلَكُمْ فِيهَا مَا تَشْتَهِي أَنفُسُكُمْ وَلَكُمْ فِيهَا مَا تَدَّعُونَ نُزُلًا مِنْ غَفُورٍ رَحِيمٍ. Whatever you desire, whatever crosses your mind, before you even utter it, that thing will be right in front of you. This is how Allah will entertain you. You don't need to dream about big, Bugatti Veyrons. The Buraq. Yeah? The Buraq. One step is as far as the eye can see. One step. It will leave your speed of light by miles. You'll forget your Bugatti Veyrons. Whatever tickles your fancy, you will get. We're sacrificing all this for a dog's life. But you know what the sad reality is? Even the dogs today are better off than us. 5 times a day some of them eat. But when their masters are on holiday, they leave them in dog hotels. A cushy life, no stress, no worries. That is a reward of loyalty to the master. And look at where we're going. My young friends, let's wisen up. You're here today, you're gone tomorrow. Make a difference. Make a difference. These are golden opportunities for you and me to make a difference. Why are we not taking them? Why are we not taking them? I'm just going to say one thing, guys, and I'm going to conclude. I said this in also last week. I'm just going to add to that. People on the day of judgment, they will come and when they stand before the Almighty Allah, laysa baynaka wa bayna Allah hijab, there will be no barrier between on Allah, no curtain, no veil, Jannah and Jahannam. When they stand before their master, they will realize that they are short in terms of deeds. How many deeds do you think they will be short by? Zahir about that there will be those that will be short by millions and millions and millions. There will be also those that will come on that day and they'll see Jannah to one side and Jahannam to the other side. You know how many deeds they will be short by? One. He's standing at the gates of Jannah. He can see Jannah. He can see the blessings of Jannah. He can hear the Huri'eens rejoicing, singing, and the Jannati celebrating. And he'll be deprived. So close. So close. So close. So far. All what he did means nothing. He needs one more. He doesn't have it. His outcome will be Jahannam. There will be regret. Because you know what? You'll think to yourself, you know what? I mean, that's how we think, human thinks, you know what? If you're well away from something by miles, you think, yeah, I never did anything anyway. But, you know, when you're so close to something and you could have had it and you didn't get it because of your negligence, it hurts even more. These are opportunities to make a difference. Can you imagine, you know, these people that you're sponsoring in the dunya, the oppression that they suffered and the sufferings that they've experienced, nobody's experienced. You know, when you help them, you know, the dua that will come out from their heart, and this is no exaggeration, you can spend years reading tahajjud and crying and begging. But you know, the dard and the pain with which they will make that dua for you, put your years of tahajjud to one side and put that dua to one side. Watch the difference that dua will do for you. You're in a good situation today, my young friends. Tomorrow, just like the Syrians and Iraq, we're accumulating. I accumulate. We've got it in our banks. We're keeping it for a rainy day. What happened to them? Don't you think they were in a state like this, but better than us? They were better than us. Hundreds and thousands of them better than us. Probably have better cars than us, better houses than us, more money than us. But where did it go when the test of Allah came? Overnight it was history, finished, bang, gone. You've got it today. May Allah protect, may Allah not test us because our iman's not strong. It's gone tomorrow. Do with it what you can while you can. Utilize it today, my young friends. My young friends, if you want to get into the position like these companions of Rasulullah, then you need to revive your iman. What will revive your iman? What will give this boost? That you'll be able to do what the likes of Bilal and the likes of Khabbab and the likes of Ammar used to do. My young friends, you need to stay in the company of awliyaullah, godly people. You stay in the company of godly people, they will recharge your iman, they will recharge your battery. Just like your mobile phone needs charging every single day, and the more you use it, the more it needs recharging. The more you expose yourself to sin and fitna, the more your iman needs recharging. And it's these godly people that will recharge your iman. They will talk to you about Allah and His Rasul. You know, if the Sahaba were in need of their iman recharging by the Nabi of Allah, and the likes of Hamza would go say, Nafaqa Hanzala, Nafaqa Hanzala, where does that leave you and me? So it's important that you connect yourself with godly people. They will remind you of the teachings of Allah. I mean, look at in this gathering, I don't know about you, but you know, when I talk about the deen of Allah, I feel at peace. I feel good inside. I feel content. I feel sukoon. This is what the words of Allah and His Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam do to you. And then you feel, you know, energized, you feel stronger. You know, I still remember to this day, our Hazrat Shaykh Yusuf Mutala, that's passed away, may Allah elevate his ranks. I used to go once a week just to, you know, recharge my iman. It used to make me feel stronger. You know, when he used to remind us of the teachings of Allah and His Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, we used to feel, you know, energetic and then we would, try acting upon his guidance. So, staying in the company of godly people, it will recharge your iman. They will remind you of the teachings of Allah and His Rasul. You will recognize who Allah and His Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam is. You will begin to love Allah and His Rasul, and then to please Him, you will start doing a'mal. When you start doing a'mal, that will strengthen your iman. And when your iman becomes strength, my young friends, then there's no limit. There are people today that live in the Western world. Their iman is so strong. Their iman was so strong. Only a week ago, somebody told me this story, of an individual that Allah had blessed him. His iman was so strong. There was so much nur on his face that when he would walk inside a room, the room would illuminate. I couldn't believe it. When he told me this, I couldn't believe it. I do believe it because karamatu awliya Allah haqqun. The karamat of the awliya Allah is haqq. This is our iman. But when he told me this, I thought, what? In this day and age, if you were telling me about something like, Sham, the blessed land of Sham, or, in some place called Pakistan, where you got godly people living in some remote, desert or village that are not exposed to the fitna, then there are godly people out there. Well, the example that he gave me was an individual in America. In California. This guy went to Chile to give dawat, to invite people to the kalima la ilaha illallah. And the tabligh is, they can sniff out people from miles, they're masters. So they found this individual who was a believer. None of his family members were believers. So they went to give him dawah, come to the masjid. Masjids are far down there. So this guy used to come to the masjid, but not regular. So they went to give him dawah. So he was so happy that he called his extended family. None of them were believers. After a few days, every single member of his family declared the kalima. And they told him afterwards as to why they declared the kalima, is because when this guy came inside that room, the room illuminated. This shows that your deen is haqq. And the person that narrated this story to me is a person that employed him for 10 years. So I haven't heard it from secondary sources. And that person just employed him because part of the time he would just recite the Quran, and he would allow him to recite the Quran. He did ittikaf with this guy for years. He says many times he saw that himself, that where they were doing ittikaf, that place would be illuminated. This day and age, in the age of fitan, subhanallah, in this day and age, my Allah knows the difficulties that we experience. So this is why, in the olden days, they'd have to do a lot more to get closer to Allah. In this day and age, you don't have to do as much, and you can get close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because the challenges are far greater. We're exposed to greater evils and greater difficulties. If he can get there in this day and age, then my young friends, why can't you and I get there? But we need help, we need support, and we need guidance. And that's why, my young friends, in this day and age, it's important that you sit in the company of godly people. Allah give me tawfiq, Allah give you tawfiq, guys. We did want 2 guys. For how much? Make it 10. Come on, you keep on changing your mind as well. Is there any godly people they want? Guys, and you know what? I like him for that, because how is he going to benefit? He's doing it for the children of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And just like he's taking care of the children of Rasulullah, may Allah take care of his children. Bear this in mind. Just like you take care of someone else, would you not like it if, God forbid, this were to happen to you and me? Somebody stood up somewhere in the world and did kifalat and took care of your children in exactly the same manner. And if you want your children to be taken care of in exactly the same manner, then I suggest my young friends, kama tadinu tadan, as you do, it will be done. The way you do things, the way you deal with people, Allah will deal with you in exactly the same manner. So, asking to help 10 orphans is not a big thing. And you said, how much is it a year? 480 a year works out, £1. £1.13 a day. If you split that, nowadays, 1 Lucas is £1. Yeah. A chocolate 50 pence. We give more than that to our children. Out your 5 children, the spending that you give them on a daily, or your 4 children, or your 3 children, if you've got 3, get them to share it between 2. And the one that you have spare, give it to another one of your children. If you've got 4, give spending money to 3 and get them to share it between 4. And the one that you have left, give it to one of the children of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. you will not be disappointed. You know, if you want your ranks raised after carrying out your obligation, there's nothing that attracts the mercy of Allah more than showing love to these servants of Allah. So guys, we need 10 guys. If we can have some Maqilal, the reason I say Maqilal is obviously this is jihad with the nafs and the shaitan. We've got to fight the shaitan. So if we can have 10 guys to participate in this good cause. Do we have anyone that will make this sacrifice? MashaAllah, you've given. May Allah accept what you've given. May Allah make it a means of your salvation. May Allah make it a means of my salvation. Subhanallah. Do we have one? Do we have one? Son? I'm sure you can persuade your father. One, takbir. Two, takbir. 8 to go, guys. You don't even have to give it yourself. How more easy can we make it? Do chanda from your family members. Ask your family members, ask your neighbors. You'll be able to raise that type of money on the street. Come on, guys. Let's break that down. That's 10 quid a week. If you put a little bit of effort in, just from your street, you'll be able to raise that 10 quid. Subhanallah, we have a third. 7 left, guys. Please, can you write your names on the forms? 7 guys, all we need is 7 more. Seven more. Like I said, some of us are going to be one short. Maybe this is the one that you need and I need. Have that intention and have that zan with Allah, and hopefully Allah will fulfill your intention. 7 more. No, I'm not going to say that. There's no food, yeah? I don't get smashed. No, you're going to say to them, eat that food without guilt. There's plenty of food. Tell Alhamdulillah, Allah shukr, whatever we've got, it's never enough. Because, they're our children, they're our brothers, they're our sisters. Those of you that have given, Alhamdulillah, and those that haven't given, may Allah soften our hearts and may Allah give us the tawfiq to participate in all good. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.
Jazakallah to Shaykh Ahmad Ali Sahab. Just a quick announcement, inshallah, before I forget.